AEW World's End was a fantastic pay-per-view, but there was a major problem and it cannot be ignored, and we got to talk about it in today's video. So if you follow me on Twitter, you probably already know this, but I did actually turn off the pay-per-view after the opening match, and there was a very big reason as to why I did so. I have been a big believer in the AEW Continental Classic, and I felt like Okada winning the very first one made a lot of sense, right? You're going to start off with this tournament. You're going to make it a very big deal, having an established star. It just makes all the sense in the world to have Okada win. But one thing that I often talk about on this channel is that I want tournaments to feel important and to be used as a tool to create new stars. It's one of the reasons why most years I would be very critical of the King of the Ring tournament in WWE. And so with AEW, as I saw the Continental Classic unfold, it was very clear that there was one very specific standout who has been given a new gimmick. He's been repackaged. I'm obviously talking about Kyle Fletcher. Now, I have been a big fan of Kyle Fletcher, and obviously, guys, we know that Kyle Fletcher could go out there and deliver some amazing matchups, especially when Will Ospreay is standing on the opposite side of him. But I looked at the Continental Classic as an opportunity to create a new star. And I'm not just saying a new star for the short term, but I'm talking long term. And you may have heard me compare Ospreay and Fletcher to John Cena and Randy Orton, but that's an actual comparison that I believe AEW should look at as for inspiration when it comes to building out your top babyface in the company and your top heel in the company for many years to come. So then we get Kyle Fletcher losing to Will Ospreay. And I understand exactly why this had happened. I understand exactly what AEW was trying to do. But I also firmly believe that Kenny Omega and Okada can still happen without Kyle Fletcher not winning the Continental Classic. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like that feud is far bigger than the Continental Championship to begin with. So it really didn't need to happen that way. I understood what AEW was trying to do. They didn't need to do it. And in turn, I believe they actually hurt Kyle Fletcher in the process. So I turned off the show. That's exactly what I did. I believe that AEW and WWE need to pull the trigger at the right times when it comes to developing new stars. Now, I know there's a lot of people who may not actually want to look into this, but I have said countless times there had been moments where Triple H could have used opportunities to freshen things up on his program by having Bronson Reed win or, you know, other individuals on the show win. And sometimes it's just the same old people being pushed. It's an issue that I have in WWE, and it's an issue that I've had with AEW. And it's something that I genuinely just want to see changed in the pro wrestling industry. So when that happened, I decided, look, I'm going to turn it off. So I went on with my night, got home. I decided, okay, I'm going to watch it. And I went back and watched the card. And honestly, the show was good. Like, I genuinely thought World's End was good. I don't think there was really anything that I hated much more than Kyle Fletcher losing the opening match, which, by the way, Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay, I think makes a very serious argument for match of the year. And as you guys know, I talk about this all the time. AEW always delivers strong pay-per-views. I feel like they are pretty weak with their TV show. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I stood with it. I went back and I watched it. There was a lot of things I liked. And then there was some things I obviously didn't like because not every show is going to be perfect. Not every pay-per-view is going to be perfect. And for some reason, I turn into a grifter just by stating the obvious. But I felt like it was a very fun pay-per-view to watch when I went back and watched it. So then that leads me to something that I think is kind of problematic in the wrestling community, because I'm checking social media and I thought Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander was a very awesome match. But it was funny going on Twitter and seeing that it was being celebrated that this match was the first women's match to go over 20 minutes in AEW history. And I don't really understand why the IWC wants to celebrate this. This company's been around for 5 years. They could have done that at any point in time within the first 5 years. This is not some monumental moment. The women should have been pushed for 20 plus minute matches since day one because they've always had a stacked roster So I didn't understand that being celebrated. I thought that was kind of stupid, but I thought Mercedes and Chris Statlander, of course, had a fantastic match. So I thought that was cool. Mercedes seems to be getting a lot more comfortable in the ring in AEW, which is great. So that was fine. Really what it came down to me for AEW and really what is going to be happening or transpiring moving forward is the main event scene. Because I feel like the main event scene is actually very lackluster right now. It could easily be fixed, but I do think there is some weaknesses here. So before we could even get to the main event scene, we got to talk about kind of what's happening in the middle of the card. Adam Cole and MJF, great match. Great booking decision. AEW decided to bring back, obviously MJF beat Adam Cole. Now Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom are back. There's no explanation as to why Kyle O'Reilly is done with the conglomeration. So hopefully they do get to a point where they explain that, but they obviously didn't explain that on the pay-per-view. But they brought Roddy, Adam Cole, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, everybody's back together. That's cool. That's fine. The Undisputed Kingdom without Wardlow, that also wasn't explained. But again, they have a time to explain that. I'm not jumping the gun. I understand they can explain that, on Dynamite. Hopefully this is what it takes to get Adam Cole into the main event scene, because right now I do feel like the main event scene is very weak. Adam Cole and MJF need to be done. So MJF retains the Dynamite Diamond Ring. That's completely fine. Great booking decision. Post-match attack. That works with me. I'm cool with that. But then I look at this fatal four-way for the AEW World Championship. I don't know if I'm in the minority here. I just personally didn't enjoy it, which is really strange considering that I like all four guys. But at the same time, too, my issue is really the Death Riders thing. This is probably the thing that is no longer intriguing to me. They had my attention for a little bit. I was enjoying it for a little bit. Now I no longer enjoy it. It's kind of becoming the same thing. But they did make the right decision with Adam Copeland going after Jon Moxley. And I think a lot of people are going to disagree with that decision. But I think right now, if you really want the AEW World Championship picture to be good, I think you got to actually have Adam Copeland win. Have Adam Copeland win the belt from Jon Moxley. And then at this point, use that as an opportunity for Adam Copeland to put over who that next individual would be. I know a lot of people are pointing their fingers at Darby Allin winning it from Jon Moxley at All In. I do not support that idea. I don't think it's a credible idea. I don't think it's an entertaining idea. I know that's the way that AEW is kind of shifting the program, but with Jon Moxley retaining the belt, let's build this up with FTR and Adam Copeland. I'm cool with that. I don't mind that. But you got to have somebody take the belt off Adam Copeland. And this is where people will probably disagree with me, but that's where I want to see Undisputed Kingdom actually get a serious push and Adam Cole being refocused, because I would build Adam versus Adam. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I understand people won't agree with me here, but at least at the very minimum with this Death Rider storyline kind of sucking right now, the benefit of this is that everybody loves Adam Copeland. I don't know if everybody absolutely loves Darby Allin. I don't know if everybody absolutely believes Darby Allin as a credible champion. In fact, I don't even know if everybody believes Adam Cole as a very credible champion. But what I do believe is Adam Copeland would bring legitimacy to the title. And hopefully that kind of presses the reset button on everything. That's the way I'm looking at it. Do I think AEW World's End exceeded expectations? I do. Again, not that many problems with it. But those two things matter. And for AEW, if you guys don't think it matters for AEW, just realize that it does, because it's going to be very telling how many people continue to stick around and support the product after a pay-per-view, and then after the next pay-per-view, and after the next pay-per-view. So we'll see if these decisions are paying off. Only time will tell. But I liked it. I thought it was cool. Continental Classic, no longer a thing I enjoy. It's just the way it is. It's sad. It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality.